My coworker, let's call her Jane. I marveled at and perhaps even mocked her. In general, she was an ordinary woman, young, successful, beautiful, but she had one point: could not get past the advertising. When some bad news letter about the next promotion with reduced prices on any crap fell on her phone, she immediately jumped up and rushed to buy this crap. Sometimes she spent her lunch break on it, sometimes she took off work early. As a result, all her stuff was bought at sales like this, in huge quantities. 5 pairs of boots. Here, even other ladies from our test department twisted their fingers at the temple. Why so many if she only goes to and from work? A ton of sweaters, skirts, handbags, other ladies' accessories. No, about style, I will not say anything. Jane chose all this stuff with taste. She was just some kind of advertising addict. The apotheosis was buying a car she couldn't even drive. She emptied her savings, took out a loan, bought it and put it in a parking lot, never even drove it. Maybe I still would have thought she was a little crazy if it weren't for one incident. We were working then on a complex project, it seems, by order of a Swedish firm, stuck behind monitors until midnight, all we can spend in the office. Of course, coffee was pouring out, and they went to the smoking room to think more and more often. So I had a stumbling block. I looked at these freaking codes and didn't understand how to eliminate the bug. I sat like that for about 10 minutes, spit, and went to the smoking room. After that, the solutions come by themselves. Jane was there. She was squatting in the corner, crying. What the hell made me ask her what happened? Jane looked up with tearful eyes and suddenly started talking. She kept talking, smoking cigarette after cigarette. The longer I listened, the more I wanted to call an ambulance and send her to Napoleons and contactors with green devils. But for some reason, I continued to listen to this nonsense as if mesmerized and nodded at times. The first advertising SMS to Jane fell on her phone about 4 years ago. There was something about a spa and skin rejuvenation, 50% discounts, and only a week of action. Jane ignored the spam, as she should. She erased the message and quietly went about her business, then went to bed. In the morning, looking at herself in the mirror, she almost fainted. Overnight, her face was covered with wrinkles. Her skin had aged as if instead of a young woman from the mirror looked at an 80-year-old old woman. Jane panicked, rushed to the doctors, but they only waved their hands. And a few days later, the phone beeped again, notifying about the SMS. Of course, she did not open the message immediately, and when she did, she was even more frightened. In the advertising text was the same recent spa salon, and below was a note. Only 2 days left. Why Jane decided that this message was addressed to her, she could not explain. But she got ready and went to the damn advertised salon. And you know what? Just one, albeit not cheap, session, and the skin returned to normal. Jane looked even better than before. She entered the salon as an old woman and came out as a beauty. The girls' cosmetologists even opened their mouths. The next SMS came a couple of months later, when Jane had already calmed down and had time to forget what had happened. It invited her to a shoe sale. And again, the unknown advertising sending entity reinforced her demand to visit the store. Having missed only one day, Jane discovered that her legs were rapidly becoming covered with varicose veins. She went to a sale, bought some shoes, and everything went away. Jane did not erase or ignore the texts anymore. Moreover, they did not come very often, well, once or twice a month. Tolerable. But she did her own investigation. The short number from which they were all sent did not exist in nature. A good friend who worked in a cell phone company had his hands full. Such mailings did not go through the company. And in general, no SMS had been sent to Gina's cell phone for those months through the operator. Jane tried to change her cell phone. The ads found her anyway, even when she registered a new number with a false name and passport details. Gradually, the appetite of advertising grew. SMS began to fall on the phone more often. Penalties for lateness became tougher and came sooner. Jane had to obey the mailing list on the first day. The advertisements didn't even discount her well being. Once a text message came when Jane was lying with a high fever, and when she missed only one day, she didn't go to buy some hair dye in such a state and almost went bald. And she was advised to buy more and more expensive things. The place of going to primers and cinemas, blouses, visits to various beauty salons, and boots made in China were taken by European brands, expensive cosmetics, furniture, appliances. Recently, there was a car. And now, Jane put out her cigarette and handed me the phone in despair. The screen displayed an advertising text, as usual, transmitted from a short, memorable number. The text is quite usual for SMS mailings, offering during the last 2 days of the month to buy an apartment in a new elite neighborhood on favorable mortgage terms, the address of the bank making a mortgage, and the office that sells apartments was attached. Well, what favorable conditions this mortgage, we all know, as well as what special prices for elite housing. I can't go on. Jane smoked another cigarette, I think the 10th. I can't afford this apartment. And what it will do to me, I'm afraid to imagine. I'm already gone, you know? I don't wear what's mine. The furniture isn't mine. It's all dictated by this fricking advertising. Good thing cigarettes and alcohol aren't allowed to be advertised, and he's a law abiding. It's funny, isn't it? At least I smoke and drink from the heart, not by decree. I didn't know what to say, so I sympathized and left. I didn't see Jane again until the evening, and I didn't see her again for 2 days after that conversation. Then suddenly I got the news that she'd hanged herself at home. She had climbed onto a stool bought at a sale, tied a rope to a baguette, and hanged herself. She hung herself for almost 24 hours, tangled in cartons, also bought on sale. All this could be considered a psychosis overworked and finally crazy on advertising girl. But yesterday I received a text message on my phone from the same number from which Jane about the mortgage in the apartment. For some reason, I remembered it then. And this is despite the fact that my number was not highlighted anywhere, neither in the network nor in stores. And for 3 years of using it, advertising bypassed me. The text message read, "There is a sale at Bravo store. This week only, all men's shoes are 50% off.